Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, please do so, along with turning on the notification bell so you are alerted when I drop a new video like this one, breaking news video, or go live. I was about to go live, but decided to record this one instead. Probably will be going live later today, possibly even with Schwinny Poo of the Strickland pod. I think most likely we will be doing that starting at 6 p.m. tonight, so stay tuned for that. Well, it's a day. It's like it's a shock, and at the same time, like a bit of a relief, in a way. This uncertainty about whether Julius Randle was going to return this season was weighing heavily over the team. And you can even over the fans themselves, us. The team, if Josh Hart was speaking for the team, I think they were moving forward with, he said, with the guys that are here. This is what we have to look. We have to move forward thinking this is the team we have. And if they come back, then that's, a pleasant surprise. So right now it's official. Julius Randle is to get season-ending shoulder surgery and will not be back. Obviously, he's gone for the playoffs. Woj dropped this bomb this morning, breaking after 2 months of rehabilitation to attempt a return to the New York Knicks. All-NBA forward Julius Randle will undergo season-ending right shoulder surgery, sources tell ESPN. He went on to post, Randle, who's been out since dislocating his shoulder on January 27th, had been relentlessly rehabilitating to resume playing prior to the playoffs, but doctors warned him that his shoulder's continued instability made it unsafe for him to play again this season, sources tell ESPN. Followed up by, Randle's done everything possible to avoid surgery and return for the playoffs, but procedure became an increasing inevitability after recent visits to 2 specialists who warned of further injury and possible permanent damage to shoulder if he returned to play before a surgical procedure, sources said. Now, if you all recall, about 3 weeks or so after the injury, he did do a press conference, I'm talking about Randle himself, where even he said himself, that surgery was still a possibility. So the reality is that it looks like he was told to get the surgery, but it would mean he would miss the rest of the season. And that is just something that at that time, the way the January Knicks were rolling, it's hard to blame him for wanting to return, for do everything he could to return. But the reality, as the weeks clicked by, was that he wasn't going to be able to return because he couldn't sustain any real contact on that shoulder. It was too unstable, and I'm glad that he finally listened to the doctors who were advising him to get the shoulder surgery. I'm glad he finally did it because it could have really impacted his entire career. If he had come back before it was fully healed, it takes at minimum 12 weeks to 16 weeks for a dislocated shoulder to heal. Now, remember, that's mostly for average people. It is supposed to be for athletes as well. But his type of style of play is that shoulder would constantly be getting impacted. It would be a target almost. I would hate to put it that way. And if he had sustained another injury, it could basically have ruined his career. And so that's just the reality of that situation. Let's keep moving forward here. Tommy Beer retweeted this because Woj then put out an article on ESPN. You guys should all check it out. But here's the nice highlight of it, and I pulled it because Tommy Beer grabbed this for us. Randle had been, quote, relentlessly rehabilitating to resume playing prior to the Eastern Conference playoffs. Doctors warned him recently that continued instability in the shoulder made it unsafe for him to play again this season. Continued instability. He had done everything possible to avoid surgery and return for the playoffs, but the procedure became an increasingly inevitable after recent visits to two specialists who warned of further injury and possible permanent damage to the shoulder if he returned to play before a surgical procedure. My guy JD tweeted this out because, he had heard his family was concerned, but Randle was doing everything in his power to come back. He pushed and pushed to the max to make this happen. He was motivated to try to perform in the playoffs. He knows, he hears it. In the end, this is the best decision. And it is. It is. Ian Begley tweeted this out. Julius Randle is said to be devastated about not being able to return, particularly because he knows how well they were playing after OG Anunoby trade, per sources familiar with the matter. One medical fear was Randle could permanently damage shoulder if he returned, per sources. Tommy also tweeted this out. Just a little reminder for all of us. In the 13 games the Knicks played in January with Randle, OG, and Brunson, New York went 12-1 and posted the best defensive rating and net rating in the NBA. And that was against some good teams, by the way. Knicks Muse, just to turn the vibe a little more positive. I know it may seem like, that's it. It's over. Let's just pack it up. Let's just hope we can do what we can do. However, as Knicks Muse points out here, the Knicks had a lead or were tied in the last 5 minutes in each of their last 3 games, but lost all 3. If they had won their last 3 games, they'd currently be the 2nd seed in the East. Now, this is without OG Anunoby. And Mitch Robinson even missed, I believe, one of these games. And he looked, hobbled in the Spurs game. And the Spurs game went to overtime. In the OKC game, basically an amazing shot by SGA, baseline jumper, turnaround jumper. He sunk it, and we lost. So, can this team prosper in the playoffs as they are currently constructed and with the players who are currently available? It does look like, as I reported earlier yesterday, or not reported, but commented on yesterday, is OG Anunoby will return. It looks like he most likely will return. It's just a matter of when, not if. That is why they are resting him the way they are. He has the elbow injury. It went from right elbow injury management to right elbow tendinopathy, which is basically tennis elbow. It comes from overuse. It is possible that the bone spurs and the tennis elbow have nothing to do with each other. They just happen to be the same elbow. Maybe they were hoping that cleaning out the spurs might speed up the recovery. It quite hasn't worked out that way. However, it appears he is improving by sources who have been commenting. And I'm only saying that because of the expectation that he will return. I don't think they would say that they expect that it's a matter of when, not if they hadn't seen any improvement in his elbow, not shoulder. Did I say shoulder before? I meant elbow. So it looks like there's a possibility that he will return, which makes this a very interesting team going into the playoffs. So we are without our all-star power forward, all-NBA power forward, second leading scorer, but we will be returning a player who is just totally plug and play, who when he came to the New York Knicks, instantly just raised the ceiling, turned this team into a legit contender, and this team dominated opponents. Now, that also coincided with Randle. However, there is a lot of evidence that this team can still be a very dangerous postseason team even without Randle. Now, it makes that a very tricky thing because there's contracts situations, there's renegotiations. This man right here, OG, He wants to get the bag. We got Isaiah Hartenstein who wants the money. So that could have also been an underlying motivating factor for why Randle chose not to get the surgery immediately and see if he can return, because he needs to prove himself in the playoffs, not just to us, but to himself, but to the NBA. But he's going to turn 30 next season, I believe, sometime. He'll have his shoulder repaired. He was playing his best ball that I'd seen him play in quite a while in January. I think it's a great decision that he's going to get this surgery, and next season will be set up from the get-go. Hopefully this offseason will make some great moves to solidify and bolster the lineup, and especially the bench unit, so that when the actual first game starts, the Knicks will be a legit contender battling Boston for number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference. That's right, I'm calling it. But let's focus on this season right now. Let's go to this. So this is Julius Randle's on and off the court stats from cleaning the glass. Now remember, cleaning the glass does not include garbage time. So these are very pure stats. In the 1,533 possessions that the Knicks played with Julius Randle on the court, the New York Knicks were a +9 in points differential based on 100 possessions. Now, that's a 91 percentile. That's excellent. Points per possession, a 93 percentile, a 122.3. The offense was cooking. The field goal percentage, also very good, 67 percentile. They were a 55.9% field goal percentage, almost 56%. They were turnover prone. That was a negative, but the offensive rebounding, they were the best with Randle on the court. A 34.5% offensive rebounding percentage, which is a 98 percentile, and the free throw rate. We got to the free throw line a lot. 21.2, 76 percentile. Now, when he was defensively though. Defensively, when he was, let's go to off the court, offensively. Offensively off the court, in the 2,958 possessions. So the New York Knicks have played more possessions with Randle off the court than with him on the court, interestingly. But also, just to also tell you, this is all the minutes without RJ and IQ as well. So that's the way to compare apples to apples. Once RJ and IQ got traded, so I had to remove the RJ and IQ data from the pre-trade stats. So here, the Knicks played almost 3,000 possessions without Randle or RJ and IQ, meaning that also includes OG, Precious, everybody else. The Knicks dropped from a plus 9.0 differential to a plus 4.1, which is still very good. It's 74 percentile. The offense did take a hit. It's going to. When you lose your second leading scorer, it's going to take a hit. It's at a 54 percentile, 115.8. The field goal percentage also dipped to a 52.5, a 22 percentile. So the offense did take was severely impacted by Randle's absence. And remember, again, RJ and IQ were removed from this. The offensive rebounding still stayed elite, 95 percentile, but the free throw rate dropped from a 76 percentile all the way down to a 15 percentile, and that makes lots of sense. Randle got to the free throw line often. But when we look at the defense, and this is what I really wanted to focus on, which is why I ended up highlighting the offense first. Yes, of course, the offense takes a hit without Randle. There's no doubt. However, the defense actually improved. As shocking as that might sound, the defense actually improved. Now, again, this data does have a lot of second unit content, stuff like that. So remember, but when Randle was on the court for those 1,500 possessions or so, the defense was a 72 percentile. They allowed 113.4 points for 100 possessions. The field goal percentage was a 57 percentile. So, the other teams were doing well. They were above the medium, 54.6%. They weren't turning the ball over enough. We weren't creating enough turnovers. But the offensive rebounding was very good because we kept them to a 24.2% offensive rebounding rate compared to us, to almost 10% better. The free throw rate, 75 percentile, pretty good. We kept them off the line. We didn't foul as much. But when you look at Randle off the court, the defense improves in every single metric except the offensive rebounding, which totally makes sense. Points per possession. The Knicks held opponents to 111.7, which is an 85 percentile. The field goal percentage dropped to 54.3%. Well, that actually did improve as well defensively, but the team caused more turnovers. 72 percentile there, 14.5% in turnover rate, increase of 1% there. The offensive rebounding did take a hit, but the free throw rate, less. The Knicks committed even less free throws. So the net result here is, are the Knicks as lethal as they were with Randle off the court? No. But their defense did improve. Is there a significant winning margin between what the defense allows and what the offense provides? Yes. The Knicks can continue to be a very dangerous postseason team. So, it's going to be interesting. Kind of reminds me of, the 1999 Knicks, where they, it looked like, okay, what can we do? But what they did was historic. And at this point, we have a guy like Jalen Brunson. We have OG Anunoby, who is, in my opinion, probably the best defender in the NBA. We have Dante DiVincenzo, who is by far one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. He's up there with the top 3 or 4 in terms of high-volume shooters. We have, oh my God, we have Mitch coming back. We have Isaiah Hartenstein. Mitch is back. He's just getting more conditioning, so it's good that he's going to be able to play out the rest of the season. Let's hope the rest of the regular season. That was crucial. We have, in my opinion, the best 1-2 center tandem in the NBA in terms of defense, especially in terms of defense. This team has enough. And we also have Josh Hart, who is basically Mr. Chaos on the court for opponents. Even when he's not scoring, he's providing a tremendous jolt to the team on both ends. And whenever he does find his shot, in those games where he hits his first 3 and he starts feeling comfortable, the team just jumps to a whole other level. And then we got guys like Precious Achiuwa, who has shown at times to be a very impactful player. He's receded here and there, but he has shown that to be. And then we have Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride has popped, and I think it's real. He's shooting like 42% from the three-point line. He's averaging 19.2 points per game since he became a starter. He has filled in for the offense in the starting lineup that RJ used to give us. RJ was averaging 19 points for us. Now Deuce is doing that. And he's also doing it at a much higher efficiency. And his defense on the other end has been fantastic. So it's a different team than when the season we started, and it's a different team than the team we had in January, but it's also still a very dangerous team, but cannot be underestimated. The reason why is because of our MVP candidate, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, if he were not on this team right now or whatever, he wasn't available to play or whatever, then of course, we'd be lucky to win a game or 2 in the first round. But with a guy like Jalen Brunson on the court, surrounded by other high-level players, and the chemistry that he has with his former teammates from Villanova, I actually think this is still going to be a very exciting postseason. And this Sunday, this game now is even more intense, more important against the Bucks. April 7th, all LA Knicks fans, if you are available, if you have the time, come down to the Greyhound, Glendale, on Sunday, April 7th. I'll be there at 3. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a great vibe. We are going to have a blast. And this, hopefully the Knicks will surprise these Milwaukee Bucks and take this game. And hopefully, you never know. With OG, it comes down to he wakes up and his elbow feels fine. That's just the way it is. The swelling goes down and he feels well enough to play. I'm not going to predict he'll be back for this game. I would love that. But hopefully he'll be back for at least the last 3 games of the season, which includes the Boston Celtics matchup. All right. What else? So, what a year. What a season. It's so bizarre being a Knicks fan. So bizarre. We finally get a beautiful new toy. And the batteries die. Well, at this point, I wish Julius Randle the very, very best. The very, very best in his recovery. I think this is the smartest move for him and the franchise. And it makes next season even more exciting, which is why I can't wait to see what the Knicks do in this postseason, because they'll just be able to build upon it next season. Okay, thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, share this video, and hit the thumbs up button for me. Turn on the notification bells if you are a subscriber or you're a new subscriber. And drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about the current situation with the Knicks and Julius Randle. And keep an eye out for a pregame show with Schwinny Poo. It's not 100%, but pretty sure we're going to be doing it today. All right. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.